Namaste people, I am Anmol Sarkar. So if you guys have seen my last video, you guys must have an idea about who I am and what I am trying to do and what this channel is all about. So please like my channel and subscribe my channel so that I can come up with more such informative videos. So in my last video I was talking about this Breaking India series, where how the Western interventions tried to create fault lines in India by distorting their history and by creating that Aryan and Dravidian master race. So in last video we went over an overview of how things has happened, but in this video we shall go into the details of inventing of Aryan's race. So today, in today's video, we will focus on how the Aryan race was invented by the Europeans. Okay. So without wasting any further time, I have prepared notes for you guys so that I can give you more and more examples and make the concepts very clear for you. Okay, so without wasting any further time, let's get started. So before starting this video, I have a very small chart to show you. The entire video will be based on this chart only. Okay, so let's start. So here is the chart. In last video we have discussed that how the people from Middle East and Germany sides and Europeans from Germany sides came to India to search their identity and claimed that they are Aryans and the native Indians as non-Aryans. Okay, so that you guys must have understood, and if you not have understood and if you did not understand, then please go and watch that video so you will get a clear understanding of this video. Okay, so we have a very small chart here where how this study of India was divided into two parts. The first part was the European romanticist. Means European romanticists are those people who were in India, they studied the Indian culture and fell in love with the Indian culture, or it is better to say they pretended to fall in love with the Indian culture. They were pro-India. In today's politics also you will see those kind of romanticists who say that yoga is very great, Indian spirituality is very great, the Indians should realize their roots and all. They tend to project that they are very pro-India and stuff. And the second is the colonial Indologists who are anti-India, the left people. They work in synergy actually, like a cycle they work. The one complements the other, so you can't say who is good and who is bad. Both are equally working for the same interest. So let's be very careful of those people who claim that they are pro-India. Okay, so we will go through this one by one. Okay, so first I would like to share a quote from Sir William Jones, who wrote in the Fellow Europeans in 1799 about Sanskrit. Okay, what the name is Sir William Jones, who wrote in Fellow Europeans in 1799. He wrote that the Sanskrit language is of a wonderful structure, more perfect than Greek. The Sanskrit language is a wonderful structure, more perfect than Greek, more copious than Latin, and more exquisitively refined than either. Yet bearing to both of them a stronger affinity than could possibly have been produced by accident. So let me repeat this quote once again. The Sanskrit language is a wonderful structure, more perfect than Greek, more copious than Latin, and more exquisitively refined than either, yet bearing to both of them a strong affinity. Means the Sanskrit language has an affinity to both Latin and Greek, then could be possibly have been produced by accident. So he tries to say that Sanskrit language is not an accident, neither is Greek. So he means to say that Greek and Latin, there were so much similarities from Greek and Latin in Sanskrit, that he wants to say that those languages were derived from Sanskrit only, and it cannot be an accident that Greek originally what came out of nowhere. For example, let me tell you some Greek words. The Greek word mater or mother comes from the Greek word mater. In Sanskrit, the mother comes from the Sanskrit word matru. Okay, matru and mater are very similar sounding and they have very similar roots. So now the second is father. In Greek it is known as pater, and in Sanskrit it is known as pitru. So this pitru and pater have very similarities. Such there are many more examples I can give you list of, but time will not permit me for that. So basically he wanted to say that Greek is very similar to Sanskrit and it cannot be developed by an accident. So it is not an accident that Greek and Sanskrit is similar. Okay, that is what he implies in this passage, in this quote. So he said this in 1799. Okay, so from here this European romanticist, this was known as European romanticist, where he found Sanskrit as most beautiful and it fell in love with Indian culture, and where he claimed that Indian culture is an harbinger of civilization, means India gave civilization to the world. Okay, then he antedates it to Judo-Christian civilizations. Okay, where he wanted to escape the rigid framework of Judo-Christian civilization. Now before Christianity came into existence, Judaism was there, and most of the Christianity is derived from Judaism only. So these European romanticists needed a historical basis to escape the rigid framework of the Judeo-Christian monotheism. In monotheism means there is only one single God. That was already. Now why did they want to escape? Because that Judeo-Christian monotheism posed a challenge to the modern ideologies or today ideologies. They were so rigid that they wanted to escape, and to escape they wanted a historical basis. So they came to India and they discovered Sanskrit, which had very similar to Judeo-Christian language such as Greek and Latin. Okay, so next that was only said that there was a fierce search of spirituality that could be made it fit into their own framework, and rest could be deleted. Okay, so India was discovered through trade routes. When this rise of search of spirituality became intense, the Queen of England or the Queen of the Germany or King of Germany at that time, they sent 2 navigators to find alternative sea routes to India, because the land route to India and Europe was blocked by West Asia, mainly by the Afghans. So they did not have the trade route to enter India through land. So the Queen ordered through Columbus to go in one direction and Vasco da Gama to go in other direction. So who discovered India first. Okay, and while in the process of discovered India, that man discovered America and called them as Red Indians. So all that history, why the Native Americans are known as Red Indians, and after that how they discovered India through sea. So that was the motive behind discovering of sea routes from Europe to India. Okay, now this was the angle of European romanticist. Now the second is the Indologist, who claim to be anti-Indian, try to destroy our culture. Now notice the synergy in which they are working. Okay, now this Indologist classified that Aryans came from outside India, as we have discussed yesterday. Now Aryans brought civilization to India. and this Aryan subdued natives, means they exploited the so-called Dravids and pushed them to South India. They shared a common ancestry with Europeans, as I have said earlier, that how they tried to link Aryans with Europe and German nationalism. Now here comes a very interesting part. They also tried, this Indologists also tried to show that India is spiritually deficient. Why? India does not have, India is spiritually not that means not that efficient. India is like you have some mineral vitamin deficiency in your body, like that. India was spiritually deficient because there was lack of Christianity present in India. This is very important point, as at this point the pro-India romanticists agree with this Indologist, means there is a common ground in which both of these people agree. So now when this pro-India harbinger of civilization, means this even European romanticists were falling in love with India, they suddenly took a U-turn, means they suddenly backed off from their claim and called India spiritually deficient because of lack of Christianity. This is what is going on in today's politics also. Basically these so-called who are pro-India, they are trying to study this Indian spirituality, and they will suddenly try to project that India is spiritually deficient because it is lack of Christianity. First they will study you. Now when they are confident that they know you well, they will suddenly change their stance and they will betray you. The same happened with our ancestors. Every time they came to India to learn spirituality, they fooled our ancestors. They spoke the language in which our ancestors spoke. Okay. Now one thing you will notice is these European romanticists are very clever. They will never use anything which goes against our interest. They will always use terms such as pro-India, spirituality. You will notice a pattern in those who project India as pro-civilization and India is a great nation. All this, you will notice one pattern, that they will always try to butter Indians. They will always try to make Indians feel good. Okay, so that you can't notice their underlying intentions. Okay, that they will take a U-turn after some time. So it is very careful. We have to be very careful of these romanticists. Similarly, our ancestors were fooled. They said that India is great, I love spirituality, and since after ancestors died, they took a U-turn. And we have landed in today's situation. It means they have betrayed our ancestors. So here is the common trait between European romanticists, the so-called today's pro-India Westerners, and the colonial Indologists, means anti-India Westerners, that these guys will take a U-turn and say that India is spiritually deficient because there is lack of Christianity. Okay, so this is what is going to happen, and this is what happened with our ancestors also. So now the point is, after these two collide with each other or become one, they will discover an Aryan race, or they had already discovered an Aryan race, which was again promoted by this German identity need. As I said, that there was no real history behind German is, so they had an identity crisis and they wanted to fulfill that gap. So after all these things, when both of these agreed on that India lacks spirituality because because of lack of Christianity, Aryan became a race. Okay. Now see, after Aryan becomes a race, German politics makes Aryan into a super race. Now when, as I said, that this German nationalism angle came into picture. Okay, German politics distorted our Vedas and made Aryans into a superior race and Jews into an inferior race. Now what happened after that is when Aryan became a master race, they invaded Aryan Jesus and propagated Western anti-Semitism and used Aryan race theory to decouple Christianity from Judaic heritage. Basically, Christianity and Judaism was were coupled, and they decoupled this ancient Judaism and Christianity. And you know after that what happened in Europe during Second World War, Holocaust. As I've said all this in earlier videos, that did lead to Second World War, Holocaust. So this is all it is to the race science. So that is it, guys. This was today's video. Tomorrow we will discuss more about various Indologists named as Frederick Max Miller or Schlegel and everything, and how this Aryan race came into India in various phases, okay, and how it divided us into Aryans and Dravidians, okay. So thank you for watching this, guys. Please subscribe to my channel. Have a nice day.